very, very early. As I was saying, you the chain, you understand that the more you involve in your supply, when it's a supply that is independent, autonomous, that you go to the producer, you understand that you're going to go also in the financing part further. Because I would tell you something, the producers whose coffees were in the sailing boat, they were all really happy about the project. They really supported us, etc. But if I will tell them I will pay you end of September, that probably they wouldn't be that happy, because it's the main issue. The main issue is when I'm going to get paid. And I will tell you something. I think in coffee, for the global coffee industry, it doesn't matter most of the time how much you pay, but when you pay.
This episode is proudly brought to you by Mapper Forward's workshop. It's time to become a coffee consultant. Learn how to diversify your revenue streams and create freedom from your day job while saying goodbye to that alarm clock forever by becoming a consultant within the coffee industry or directly to consumers who have shifted towards home brewing and home roasting. Protect your income from challenging times in the coffee value chain by taking this course today. Go to mapperforward.coffee/workshops or click the link in the show notes for details. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 4 of a fantastic 5-part series with Angel from Belco, and we are talking about logistics and financing of moving coffee. This is a subject that we have not covered enough on this podcast. So I'm glad we've got Angel to talk to us about it, and particularly because we're talking about some really innovative stuff, really interesting, innovative stuff the Belco are the first to market with. So in the last episode, we talked about moving coffee via a sailboat. The proof of concept has been demonstrated. Our friend Felipe is one of the first to be shipping coffee out of Brazil, or the first to be shipping coffee out of Brazil on a sailboat. He's very happy about it. Now, in this episode, we're going to talk about the cost of financing coffee and its logistics. Here's why we want to talk about this. Right now, the sea market is doing backflips. I don't know how else to say it. Everybody's panicking, except coffee producers, obviously. But everybody is panicking. For many, many different reasons. Some coffee producers are saying, you know what, we're just not going to sell any of our coffee yet. We think the price is going to continue to go up. So we're just going to chill and maybe wait till the price goes above $3. All of this stuff everybody knows about. The part of it that people find difficult to understand is, where does the money come from to pay for all of this coffee? And how do you finance coffee that's going to go from origin to the country it's going to land in when the coffee hasn't been sold yet? And who owns the responsibility of financing that coffee, and when do producers get paid? When does the exporter get paid and the importer get paid and the buyer, all of that kind of stuff. So Angel, can you help us understand that process?
Yes, of course. And to give you the example on the sailing, we sail away.
You had to say it. That will be the theme song.
Yeah, it sailed away on September the 19th. At that day, the coffee we exported, we paid the producers for that coffee from May, and we finished paying them on July 15th.
Months before it got on the sailboat.
Exactly.
So now you're out for that coffee. You're carrying the risk at that point.
Yes, exactly. Very, very early. As I was saying, the chain, you understand that the more you involve in your supply, when it's a supply that is independent, autonomous, that you go to the producer, you understand that you're going to go also in the financing part further. because I will tell you something, the producers whose coffees were in the sailing boat, they were all really happy about the project. They really supported us, etc. But if I will tell them I will pay you end of September, that would, probably they wouldn't be that happy, because it's the main issue. The main issue is when I'm gonna get paid, and I will tell you something. I think in coffee, for the global coffee industry, it doesn't matter most of the time how much you pay, but when you pay, unfortunately.
Say more about that, because I'm not sure that people understand the element of the risk burden of who's left holding and at what time. So tell us
what you
more.
were saying, for example, a producer may tell you, I will hold the coffee until it goes up. They will do it if they have the capacity, the financial capacity of holding. But most of the smallholders in the world, they pick and they need to sell it the same day. And that's how the coffee industry, I'm not talking about specialty or special coffee, that's how the coffee industry works. Farmers
On
need to get
desperation.
paid. Yes.
When people have this concept, Angel, that coffee producers are either really, really poor or really, really wealthy. What's the reality of that?
It's a mix of everything, It's a mix of everything. I mean,
is there a middle class in coffee?
Yes.
Producers? Great.
Yes, there is, and it will mainly depend also on the structure of the country. Sometimes on the history of the families. It could be. I have met, thanks for my experience, I have met producers in I will quote one country, Burundi, that will count how much coffee they have on trees.
Really?
I have 300 trees, and at the same time, I met producers in Brazil that had over 10,000 hectares. That had their own plane,
And they get from one side of the farm to the other on helicopter.
Yeah. So you can have a little bit of everything, and I think like in many things in life, basically, or in many professions, you can get a little bit of everything. So I think if you want to see it like simple, yeah, you can say there are people that are poor and people that are wealthy. But I think you have a little bit of everything. You also have some farmers that do have coffee, but not only live out of coffee. I come from a family that produces coffee, started producing coffee in 1890. Most of my cousins, they are not into coffee. They own farms, but they have professionals. Some are doctors, engineers, do other stuff. Then you have a bunch of different kind of producers, I would say, and you have some that are not educated at all, and there are others that could be more educated than the both of us.
I mean, that's the challenging part of coffee, right? Is there's so many challenges that exist, and because it's so multifaceted, approaching any of these challenges has to be region specific, not just country specific, but region specific within the countries.
Yes.
When we were doing the regenerative ag workshop, trying to create something that was for coffee producers was ridiculous. I heard that from a couple of people, like, which kind of coffee producers are you tailoring this to? And I was very confused. And people said, well, there are coffee producers who are going to look at what you're doing and think it's cute, right? And then there are coffee producers who can't read. That's the spectrum. And then there's everything in between that. So how do we create something that's intention is to inform people who are looking for an alternative to conventional coffee farming?
I think I will tell you two words that come to my mind: humble, and adaptable.
Humble and adaptable.
Because I can be humble to any of the farmers I have met, who I work with. I would be more precise that I work with, because I can be humble in front of the challenges sometimes they need to face that are extremely hard, or at the same time humble because they are very knowledgeable and that you can actually learn a lot from them, and adaptable because you need to adapt to both of them,
100%. And we were so blessed with the professors that we had. And we're going to expand the program and continue to do that. It's just you become so hyper aware of the spectrum of circumstances that we have when we use this like generic term coffee producer. It's not like the coffee producer is one thing. It's so many different things, and if you're trying to create solutions for a coffee producer, even the logistics of the sailboat. How do you create that as a solution for a coffee producer? It's so complicated and so convoluted. But getting back to the idea of financing, what you were saying is some coffee producers pick their cherry and have to sell it on the same day because they don't have a runway, right? Like go ahead.
Yeah, and in a moment, the bigger you are as a farmer, it can make you hold a little bit more. You're bigger, you can hold more and more and more. But in a moment, they all need cash as well, and that's something that is very important in coffee. And how we as an exporting company got finance at this moment, I can tell you, it's in house. We finance everything with our credit lines from the banks. But what has been traditionally done in the specialty sector is that smaller companies, normally they get financed by multinationals because they don't have the time to work, or then they don't give their time to work on their logistics and on their credit lines.
Tell me about the role of the importer as a financier.
I think it will depend on the same thing, on how this counterpartner that you can have works on his logistics and on its credit lines. Because you could have an importer that is, let's put it this way. You have an importer, a roaster, and you have this roaster that asks to the importer, import and finance for me this coffee. If this importer has credit lines and works their logistics, they will do it. Or there are some other importers that they are at the same level almost as the roasters, because their logistics and their financing are handled by multinationals.
Right. I'm hearing a lot at the moment.
So sometimes, the things roaster will say it's easier to go with the multinational.
Right, because they have less risk within a multinational. Those guys can carry things further. I'm hearing a lot right now with a lot of the panic that's going on with pricing. There are roasters who are saying that they're panicking because they're not sure how solid their importers are with regards to their financing. Are we entering a time where the financing of coffee is going to have to be reimagined because of the moment that we're going through, do you think?
Actually, we are seeing it already. I think that most of the times that you see that some companies absorbed by others is because of that.
When Leeand,
we can put it on many aspects as we want, but I would think it's for that.
When Leeand was on the podcast, and I know that you got to see a couple of those episodes, for those who didn't see it, Leeand was talking about being a small importer, and can a small importer remain independent as they get really big? Or do they all end up getting absorbed by bigger fish because it's so hard to maintain that big a credit line as you get bigger? And Leonard was saying this is the reason that most of them go out of business, as you're saying. It's just so much risk.
And I would say, yeah, completely. And I think it says everything, you can sell your soul every day.
I live in Dubai, really like it.
So you can sell your soul every day, but you can also decide to fight every day not to sell it.
I have to say, when you were in Dubai, you said something to me that I have thought about at least once a day since you guys left. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the ratio I used for the chemics.
No. We were talking about a whole bunch of we were talking about being values based as business owners, and we were talking about principles.
Yeah.
You remember what you said to me?
Yes.
We were having a very confidential conversation, let's just say it that way. And Angel said to me, there's a saying that here are my principles, and if you don't like those principles, here are my other principles. So when you talk about like every day, you have to make a choice of like how you're going to participate in the world. You can get destroyed, or you can, live by your values. This is at least once a day I think about when you said that to me. Because right now I feel like every day in coffee is serving us up a new challenge.
Yeah, completely.
And I want to ask you, when it comes to the financing side of things, how much is the financing of the coffee itself more challenging, or is the financing and the efforts behind the logistics more challenging?
The thing is that, I would say it is more challenging because the interest rates have gone up. So the specialty coffee industry was built up on free money.
Yeah.
Now it's not the case.
Well, for those who don't understand that, explain it to them.
We had a very low interest before the pandemic, and then it starts to went up at levels that are not comparable to what we can see in countries like Colombia, for instance. But 4 or 5 times for Europe, for the US, what we were saying before, so it's quite an increase. So I think it's that, and then the logistics. What is the challenge is time, because the more you engage with your supply, the further you're going to go the payment for the producers. So that makes you to have, let's say, in a way, to have your money, how can you say it, not moving, or it's based in some place. You put it there.
Well, and this idea of money and time as two different currencies, they're interlinked, and one is making the other more expensive, right? Like, for example, anyone who's buying coffee out of Burundi right now, you're getting crushed under waiting months and months and months for your coffee to get out of Burundi. But in the meantime, you've secured the financing to pay the producers, but you have no idea if that coffee is ever going to leave Burundi.
Yeah, exactly.
So time is an element.
And I'm telling you, Burundi was the first country in Africa I visited in 2013, and it was not easy at that time. I cannot even imagine how it is right now.
No. That brings me to something very interesting. What role is geopolitics playing in coffee freight and financing? We need a whole series for that, right?
Yeah, possibly. I will tell you, financially, that of course is the Fed taxes. It gives you directly source over the interest, and as well the dollar. Because all of the trade is done in US dollars. So it affects quite a lot what is happening. How is the dollar going? That will of course affect.
And does it all come back to that?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. To give you an example, I was telling you, and after the COVID, there was a lot of time that was no consumption, and there was a lot of consumption at once. And a country like the US had an increase on imports, and we were struggling to get containers out for Europe because they were all going to the US. Shipping lines would prefer to go to the US because it was more lucrative for them. So I think it really has an incidence, and then of course we can talk of different cases, like who would how is to send coffee to Russia, for example, right now with what is going on. So it really affects. It really.
Yeah, because
there was a strike on dockers in the U.S., for example,
on the East Coast.
So you get affected directly.
Yeah, and there is a direct link though between the logistics and the financing, and geopolitics, right?
Yeah. It's macro. At the end, it's macro factors that can affect you. And also, it's like the consumption of a country can increase considerably in the moment of a big country, and that would affect, of course.
Well, and China's an example of that. The fact that origin countries are becoming bigger consumers of coffee, which is going to shift the logistics moving forward, which sets us up perfectly for the last episode of this series, which is coffee logistics in 10 years from now. Good luck to anyone who can pick it, but we're certainly going to try and predict what's going to happen, or Angel's going to tell us what's going to happen over the next 10 years. So join us for the final episode, folks. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, friends. Please don't forget to show us some love by subscribing, liking, commenting, and most of all, sharing this podcast with your friends. Check the show notes for links, including our sponsors and our Patreon. And stay tuned for more great conversations on the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward.